G'day everybody, how you going today? It is so good to see you. Now, in light of the imminent arrival of the Z9 and the announcement of two new lenses, the crazy 800mm PF 6.3 lens along with the 28-75, which some people love and some people don't, and that's the way it goes in the world, I thought we could take a moment to look at the latest roadmap. Nikon have released a roadmap dated the 14th of December 2021. There's lots of interesting information in there, and I think there's one or two things hiding in there that perhaps not everybody has noticed. So let's jump in and talk about those things. So let's start at the top of the roadmap, and now as it's starting to flesh out, I think we can pretty much see that in each section, and the sections are prime lenses, compact prime lenses, micro lenses, zoom lenses, and then within those sections there's a bit of logic that the lenses with the largest apertures are at the top, and as the apertures change we seem to be going lower. So there's a bit of a pattern forming as we get more data to see that pattern. There's some other patterns as well. But if we start with the prime lenses, we can see, for example, the Noct 0.95 is at the very top. Here it is right here. Then we go down to the 1.2s and the 1.8s. So the first little tell here is we can see that the 85mm is sitting right next to the 50mm, pretty much indicating, I think, once and for all, this is going to be a 1.2 lens. So that is super exciting. The next thing that I want to have a bit of a look at is obviously we have the 400 2.8, and here we have the 800 PF that's now just been development announced. Now if we look at these two here, that's awesome, but then if we look at the shadow map when talking about the new 800 PF, and we look at this sort of the shadows here on this image, we can see that the 400 2.8 and the 800 6.3 are just about exactly the same length. Now if they are to scale on this image, which we would hope they would be, so if, it's a big if, the original 400 2.8 F lens is around about 34-35 centimeters, 13.5 inches. So if the Z version and the F version are roughly the same size and this is to scale, then we can see that the 800 PF is just over a foot long, which is absolutely ridiculous in my mind. Ridiculous. So that's all very interesting stuff that we can see on the roadmaps if a couple of assumptions there are correct. And look, they're fairly logical and minor assumptions. And if we look at where the 400 and 600mm lenses are sitting here in the roadmap, we can see they're sitting between the f2.8 and the f6.3, and they're sort of at the higher level. Does this mean they will both be f4s? It feels that way to me. Moving through to the compact prime lenses, obviously we've got the 28 and the 40, and they're starting to flow, the f2 and the f2.8. And we also have coming as we can see on the shadow board here, we can see we've got the 26mm, which basically does look like a pancake lens. We don't know anything about that, and a DX24 coming. So that means it's a 36mm, and it will only work on cropped cameras, of course. But that's a good all-rounder sort of focal length. I don't think I've ever owned a 36 megapixels, but not 36 mils. Next we have the micro lenses, nothing new to talk about there. And then in this list, of course, we now have the addition down here of the 28-75 2.8. Now, the other thing that we can see as we start to go through here, another hierarchy that appears is that the S-class lenses sit higher than the non-S-class lenses. So the S-class lenses are at the top, and then we get lower, and the non-S, because we can see here S trumps non-S. It's not just about apertures, that hierarchy. There's not much else we can learn here, but just a quick reminder that we do have a DX 12-28, so that will be an 18 to 42. I think that is an 18 to 42. So that's a pretty cool lens to have for your Z50 or your ZFC or any other cameras that might be coming. I suppose a Z50 replacement is in the wind. It's been a while. Or is there going to be that even more entry-level camera, a Z3 or a Z1? Who knows? There's another zoom lens coming. And, you know, we do have the 16 to 50, but the 12 is a little bit wider, so that's kind of cool. And as I said, the 12 is 18. So 18 is pretty wide, full frame equivalent. And then if we go across to the other side here, we can see the 200 to 600 is sitting below, and it's in the non-S class area. So I think it's probably in its correct position. So we can see here that the 200 to 600 will probably not be an S-class lens. I think it's going to sit in the same sort of price point and point in the market as the current F-mount 200 to 500. And I think what they might have done here with the Z mount, the 200 to 500 is a constant 5.6. My guess is this 200 to 600 is also a constant 5.6. And that would be a pretty awesome achievement. We've used it. Joseph owns one of these lenses. We've used it a couple of times in a few different videos, in two of the latest birding videos. And we can see it's a very fine lens. So the Z version will be that and more, I would suspect. So that's coming. As is noted with all of this, by the way, this is all of what we're seeing here is due by the end of 2023. So yes, that feels like a long time away, but there is a lot of different things going on here. And that will be a total of 36 lenses, they're stating, by the end of 2023.
Nikon have put out these lineups before, and of course they change. So I would expect over the next 2 years, because we are talking about the end of 2023 here, I would expect by the end of 2 years we will actually have more lenses on this roadmap. This is what's happened in the past. For example, the 28 to 75 was not on the roadmap and it just suddenly appeared. There have been other examples of this, and I do think this number will grow beyond 36 by the end of 2023.
So that is pretty much it. We've got an exciting lineup of lenses. Nikon was stating that they would have roughly 30 lenses by the end of the financial year, which is still another 3.5 months away, the end of their financial year, which is March, April. We've currently got 25 lenses that are just about to be released, because that's including the 24 to 120 and the 100 to 400. And my guess is that almost 30 probably went 27 or 28. They just weren't quite sure how much stuff they would get out. So that kind of means we might see another anywhere between 1 and 3 lenses. I'm going to just go in the middle and say 2. We're going to see 2 more lenses in the first 3 months of next year. So what will be the 3 lenses that we might get between, say, now and the end of the first quarter? Well, we certainly know pretty much that the 28 to 75 is going to be one of them. What might be the other one? Might it be the 85? We've heard nothing about it. Could it be the 400 PF? I don't think so. I think the 800 PF is such a massive announcement. That will be next. We've seen it. Could it be the 26mm pancake? I think it could be a lens like the 26mm pancake, because that's going to be relatively easy to make compared to a lot of these other lenses. Might it be the 200 to 600? I don't think so. I know a lot of people are waiting for that lens, but with the 100 to 400 only just arriving sometime now, soon-ish, I don't think they'll do a similar lens so close. I think we're going to have to wait a little while for that one. And could it be the DX 12 to 28? I don't know. I'd be surprised if it's that one. So based on what we have here in front of me on this list, I would actually think the most likely other lens is either the 26 pancake, the 24 DX, or the 85 1.2, along with the 28 to 75 2.8 that's just been announced. But beyond that, it's anybody's guess. I'd love you to tell me your guess on what will be the next 3 lenses, starting with the 28 to 75. What will be the next 3 lenses we'll see in the next, let's say, 3 to 6 months? Let me know in the comments below, and also which of those are you most interested in? Maybe none of them. I'd love to know. Oh, before I go, I did want to talk about the 400mm. Now, if we look over here at the 400mm, it is very short. And there are theories that the 400 is a PF lens as well. Now, that makes a lot of sense. I don't know how, like the 500 is so short, PF. The 400 is going to be, I don't know, is it going to be as big as a 24 to 72.8? Maybe.
Again, if this is to scale, we can see that the 400mm potentially PF lens is the same size as the 70 to 200 2.8, and that's around 22 centimeters or 8.5 inches.
The technology is just crazy, but it does look like it's clearly not a full-sized 400mm. My guess is it is a PF because we know that the 500 PF works basically natively on Z, even with the adapter, but it just works so well, and it's a relatively modern lens. So I think Nikon, rather than creating a Z version of the 500, what would be the point? They still have a very modern 500 that works perfectly well. Create a 400. So that's my theory. I think a few other people have the same theory. Let me know if it's your theory. But I think that could be coming soon as well. And yeah, I could get excited, pretty excited about that lens. I wonder if they work with teleconverters. I don't know whether that works. Does anybody know? Do PF lenses work with teleconverters? Please let me know that in the comments below. Fantastic to see you, and look, if this is your first time here, I would love to see you again, so please do subscribe. Don't forget merch, like your Canacone hat and so on. Check out my website for calendars. Awesome. We ship everything all over the world. And channel membership. Bye for now.